Let's talk about the Glute Hamstring Developer, GHD, device or machine. It's that piece of machinery in a gym, in a commercial gym, that usually is on the corner. Most people don't know how to use it, looks intimidating, and the people that do use it, they make it into a back extension, or they do some kind of sit-ups on it. But let's talk more about, it's called a Glute Ham Developer. Your glutes don't kick in as much. Some people say not at all, but they do if you focus on maintaining hip extension along with the hamstrings. And with your feet anchored, it forces the hamstrings to work mostly, primarily, from the knee joint, where the femur and the rest of the trunk are in one straight line. So what I find with most people when they first try the exercise is that they get a lot of back extension along with some of the hamstring and very little glute. So what's really missing is their positioning of their rib cage and pelvis. They have to kick in their abdominal obliques to counter or oppose the tendency to want to extend through their spine, the lumbar spine in particular. So key thing is when they're doing it, do they feel it in their lower back? So something needs to be improved or changed. So first things first, when you get in position, place your feet flat on the footrest and put more pressure on the balls of your feet. Get yourself in an upright position. Set the ribs and the pelvis, what I call a rib fold, so you engage the abdominal wall, takes pressure off the lower back. Maintain that. Focus on working on the lowering phase or the eccentric phase first for beginners, where they're at the top, they get position, and they maintain that as they slowly lower themselves until the trunk is horizontal or parallel to the floor, and then they could put their hands on the pad or the armrests and work their way and help them support themselves upright. And then again, just focus on unsupported on the lower or eccentric portion. Now, the key thing is when you start to lower the trunk, you're starting to straighten your knees out or make your legs long, as I say, push the heels back into the footrest, and then that way the knees can straighten more and then the trunk comes straight out. You don't need to go all the way down so that the head goes below parallel. You want to maintain constant tension on the hamstrings. So going further down might provide a little bit of stretch, but that's actually giving the muscles a little bit of rest. So only have them come parallel to the floor, and then from there, to help themselves come back up, reinforce the rib fold positioning, push off the balls of the feet, let their knees drop so their knees can bend or flex, get their trunk back upright. So start off the beginner way, working on the eccentrics or just the lowering phase. Progress as soon as you can to the full motion of lowering and raising. But first and foremost, focus on not feeling anything in your lower back. All right, it's not purely a back extension exercise. It's teaching you how to use your hamstrings, but more, let's get real. It's teaching you how to use more of your hip extensors rather than your spinal or back extensors. Okay, so it's a great exercise. It's great for stimulating the hamstrings or the hip extensors, and especially for people with history of low back issues, especially those who lift and have low back issues. Most of the time when they're doing these, they feel they're working their low backs way too much, and that's contributing to probably why they have the back issues in the first place. So when making those minor cues or adjustments, focusing on the rib fold or just the rib cage and pelvic positioning to oppose spinal extension, so you could really maximize and optimize hip extension with the knee flexion movement. And that's the key for the GHD raises or glute hamstring developer raises.